26, 2019, 5:28 a.m. Episode 524. That is the correct number. I got it right one. I had to work on drawing Mike Pence here. So I have Mike Pence walking around with Jesus. And, I didn't like that one so much, I don't think. Did I change that one? Maybe I did. Mike Pence is just, he is, I wrote about this on my blog, he's a big shitweasel. The thing is that the guy who professes to be such a devout Christian, you know, goes on CNN and refuses to answer questions. He just squirms and weasels and lies. One of the biggest lies he told, I mean, first off, he talks about, you know, rebuilding the U.S. military. Rebuilt the U.S. military. Somebody tell me how. How they rebuilt the U.S. military? How? Other than throwing more money at it. We have not rebuilt the U.S. military in 2 years. He refused to answer about climate change. He says, we'll go with what the science says. Okay, the science from your own administration says it's a threat. You say it's a threat. And he keeps squirming around it. He won't say it's a threat. Because guess what? That will kill him with the base. And then he says 90% of asylum seekers don't go to the court hearings. Actually, it's 10% who don't go to the court hearings. Less than that, actually. It's like 9%. That is just the biggest lie in the world. And he knows this is a lie. But he goes on TV and he says it. Thankfully, Jake Tapper just told him straight to his face, that's not true. That is not true. And he just sticks with it. Because he's a liar. So, but with the whole thing about throwing kids into cages and the shape of these detention centers, he goes on to blame Democrats. It's the Democrats' fault. Democrats' fault. You know, because they won't give us funding for them. Well, it's like this, buddy. When you build a whole bunch of torture chambers, you can't scream and bitch about other people who won't fund more beds for your torture chambers. Stop throwing children into torture chambers. How about that? All right, let's do some shout-outs. Shout-out time. Shout-out time. It's really early. Nobody's awake yet, including me. I slept way too long. TJ comes in and he's still defending these racist cops. He says, I'm not defending any racists, which means he's defending racists. That's like saying, I'm not a racist, but then you didn't go on to say something racist. TJ, you're already defending racists. You talk about how race isn't a big issue for people out in California. That's bullshit. And it's always conservatives who say that, you know, where I live, race isn't just that big of an issue, which is like an excuse for people to be racist. He says, he wrote a big long screed, and I'm not going to read it all because it's just too long. He thinks memes don't really show what should be qualified to show that people are racist. Yes, it does. People show racist memes. It does. He's defending racist cops' rights to post racist memes. The thing is, I'm pro free speech too, but I'm also pro not hiring racist cops. If you had a dog clinic, you wouldn't want to hire somebody who has memes about killing dogs. So how about not hiring cops who post memes and other comments celebrating shooting black guys? How about that? I mean, there is free speech, but, you know, you're also allowed to not have people on your staff who are not qualified for the job. And it's their speech that exhibits that they're not qualified, you know? And again, they're government employees. There's a big difference, you know, like employees of the federal government can't really go out and endorse candidates take place in politics. Isn't that limiting their free speech? So, talk about reparations. Amanda says money is a temporary solution to a much larger systematic problem ingrained into our country. Reparations will need to include opportunities and legislation that help us move toward together as equals. I agree with that. I don't think you can just hand everybody a check and say we're done. I think we do have to change the system, and that's what I view reparations as. Do we put money into that change? Yes. But that doesn't mean that we hand everybody a check. And it's not because I don't want to hand everyone a check. I think that'd be beautiful if you just hand everybody a check. But that doesn't solve the problem, you know? just like, say, if you met a homeless guy and you gave him $1,000, that doesn't get him off the streets. You know, how about something that gets him off the streets instead? You know, the same way, and I don't mean to compare, you know, African Americans with a homeless guy. That came out wrong. My point is that just handing money to individuals does not solve the problem. I mean, it doesn't make up. In this case, it doesn't make up for injustice. It's not going to cure an unjust system. That's what I mean with that. So, the money's got to go into something that actually makes the change. Argentino says, our society is not in a situation due to slavery, so due to segregation. But segregation came from slavery, Robert Coutinho. And then he wrote a lot too. Why is somebody writing these long things today? Oh, good lord, dude, you wrote more than TJ. Okay. Errol says that the last cartoon, confused her a bit. This one to Joe Biden. Because I mixed preparations with what Biden said about being able to work with people he really can't stand. I'm pretty sure he was just bragging that he'd be able to work with the worst of the worst in today's government. He was bragging about that, but you overlooked the fact, Ariel, that he said, you know, they never called me boy. Why would they call him boy? Why would they call him boy? Okay? You know, last time somebody called me boy was when I was a boy. You know? Except for my friend Bobby Hebert. He always called me boy. I don't know why. Hey, boy. I put everybody else boy. I always took it, though, from him to mean that I was younger than him, which I did appreciate. He's a friend I worked with at the newspaper. He was Captain Classified. I may have to ask Jane about him if you don't know him. So. I like the way the Jesus turned out here. And nobody has commented that I made Jesus darker. I have news for you. Jesus was not a white guy. No, it's not. I mean, he is in the picture in your house, but he was not a white guy. Yeah, I did change Pence's nose here. I like the way it turned out. I worked on it for a while. I made Pence so white that I used a shade of yellow. I used a shade of yellow. Very, very light yellow. And I find that very fitting. Only problem with making him so white was that I still needed his hair to come out white. Alright, folks. I should have done this cartoon a few hours ago. But hey, it gave time for TJ to come in. Leave a comment. You will get a shout out. And click that red button and become a subscriber to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. I'll see all you folks later today. I gotta stop having these videos in my way. Goodbye.